Let's talk about this young Royal Marine then that's put a petition out saying basically he doesn't want the standards of the Corps, of the Royal Marine Corps, to be lowered to accept women. This is diversity gone mad, and we all understand it, guys. Look, I just got back from town. I went for a haircut. I didn't get a haircut because when I walked into the barber's, which is an English barber's, because I don't go to any of this Turkish nonsense, it was packed out with men wanting their haircut, all right? And so I was like, oh, I'll come back during the week, no worries, all right? I walked past the Turkish barber's, no one's in there. We know why no one's in there, right? Because it's a front for drug money. We all understand that. People are recognising that now. We've got standards. The English have standards, and now they're waking up and they're like, you know what? I don't want to see all these immigrants coming in, and I don't want to see it happen. I'm going to go to an English barber instead. Now, talking of standards, this is what we've said. I've talked about the Turkish barbers before. I've talked about this Royal Marine before, basically on Twitter. I haven't talked about it here. Now, the truth is, the Royal Marines, let's talk about it. The young Royal Marine, I think his name is John. He's a Scotsman, all right? Solid dude. I don't talk about British, you know that, guys. I talk about the English, Welsh, the Scots and the Irish, because anyone can be British. Can't you come over in a dinghy, you can be British, right? But these nationalities are important. This is a Scotsman serving in the Royal Marines. He's based in Scotland. Now, he's done the full CTCRM course, Commando Training Centre Royal Marines. Remember the Royal Marines, they formed in 1664. They were called the Duke of York and Albany's Regiment of Foot. They're the Navy's sea soldiers, elite troops, split into 3 commandos, technically 5. 40, 42, 45, and then you've got 59 and 29. 59 are engineers, 29 are Royal Artillery. They've done the All Arms course, and they are based from the Army, basically. They just kind of attach themselves to the Marine. That means that the Marines really have about 24 to 2,600 actual Marines who've done the 32-week course down at Limpston. I know all this, because my father's a Marine. I follow the Marines closely. What's happened with this young Marine now? This young Marine has started a petition to say, I don't want to lower the standards in the Corps to allow women in. Now, I get a lot of emails from Royal Marines, and a lot of Royal Marines are quite bitter. And I'm not saying Royal Marines are all angels, because they're not. Some of them can be absolute dickheads. You can find dickheads everywhere. You can even find them in the Corps. But this young Marine, what he's done is he said, I'm going to make a stand. He put a petition out within an hour. It's wrong. Within 24 hours of him putting a petition out, 1,000 Royal Marines had signed this to agree with him that they didn't want to lower standards to accommodate women in the Corps. Now, some people are saying he was attacking a particular woman who was going through, who has failed a few of these commando tests apparently, or she's failing in training, and they're kind of giving her a bit longer to do things, maybe lessening the weight for her so she can, you know, perform better. And people are having a go at this guy for saying that he's attacking her directly. And I think maybe the Corps have got an issue with this. Also, the Corps have got an issue because this young Marine has put it publicly out there on the internet. And it was taken down by the Ministry of Defence, citing that it was a Russian bot, or it was Russian, Russian people were doing this. And it wasn't. It was this young Marine, I think he's called John. Now, his brother, Plastic Scott, on YouTube, you can find him, has stood up for this guy, and he said, hang on, this is my young brother here. My brother's just worried about the falling standards. I did something very similar into the Air Force, didn't I? And I brought up the diversity stuff. You guys have seen that before. But this is the Royal Marines. Now, I think this is a failure of leadership from the very top. It comes out of the Cabinet Office. It goes through the Ministry of Defence, who are driven by a company called Common Purpose. If you don't know who they are, look them up. Then it's been driven into the sector, all the services through the top, through their senior commanders. Because you cannot, now this is the problem, I don't believe women should be in the Royal Marines. You've got 3 commandos, as I said, of Royal Marines, 40, 42, 45. They make up the bulk of the Royal Marines, with the attachment commandos, which are engineers and artillery. There's not enough women in the Corps or applying for the Corps to make a difference. Now, in flying jets, there was. I flew with women over southern Iraq the whole time. Sometimes I had to do the radio for them because some of the agencies we spoke to wouldn't speak to a woman. It's just how it is. But it didn't really matter. We're quite remote from the battlefield. We're doing targeting through laser designation pods. We're dropping ordnance. It didn't matter. The women in the jet were an operator like I was, and it was fine. It worked out. In the Corps, it's very personal. It's very driven through relationships and bonding. These Marines are thinking soldiers. They're shock troops, a bit like the parachute regiment, but they are a real senior tier. And as I said, my father was in 4-5 Commando for a long time, so I know a lot about the Corps, and I follow the Corps. I read the Globe and Buster, we call the Globe and Laurel. I read the magazine. I kind of follow what the Corps does. I always have done. I just picked up my father's service records, in fact, so I've gone through where he was based and what he did. Mountain leader, troop. He did a bit of SF. Don't want to go into it. It was all that kind of stuff, right? But so I followed this quite closely, what this Marine's doing. A brave young man. I'll tell you what happened. He puts this... Poor boy. He puts this report out. He puts his petition out. Gets taken down. Then it gets hauled. Well, he doesn't. Then the Marines start having a witch hunt. down at, well, it's obviously based out of Lympstone, but this guy's based in Scotland. So they have a massive witch hunt. Who's doing this? Eventually, all the Marines are being brought into rooms and kind of examined. Was it you? Who is it? You know, asking questions. None of them give this dude up, of course, because they're all solid Marines, aren't they? You know what I mean? So eventually this young Marine, John, walks in the office and says, you can stop looking, it was me, all right? They're like, all right then. And then they start questioning him. Anyway, it gets a bit deep and dirty. They're sort of asking, what is he doing? All that kind of stuff. Why is he doing it? He decides then, there's too much noise. He goes on holiday with his wife. When he comes back in through the airport, I think it's just through Scottish Airport, there's 5 people waiting for him. They then detain him under the terrorism, like Section 7 of the Terrorism Act. I'll tell you how to slightly get through this in a minute if you want. And they take him into a room and they interrogate him. This is a Royal Marine detained under the Terrorism Act. Now, what they did say was that it was to do with a political party he belonged to. He doesn't say what political party that was, but he does say it's a mainstream party. So it could be UKIP, Homeland. It could have been, you know, what Patriotic Alternative, I think it was called. I can't remember now. But one of these maybe more right-leaning parties, and they wanted to examine him. We can belong to whatever party we want in the UK. It's all right, as long as they're, you know, they're not prescribed. They're not a terrorist. You know what I mean? We can do what we want. They said it was about that anyway. So he talks to them about it. Eventually, of course, he's threatened with a lot of stuff and everything. The problem is these people are faceless. This is the issue. So you never heard which Marine is questioning him. You've never heard which Ministry of Defence officials. He was actually flown to the Ministry of Defence to answer these charges prior to going on holiday. That was the problem. And they examined him down there, and he said, what unit are you from? And they wouldn't tell him. This stuff makes me sick. These are faceless bureaucrats. This is why I talk about common purpose. They've gone through this regimented diversity is the new thing, haven't they? Because they realise they've got to bring in immigrants to the country. I think the Office of Budget Responsibility said we need at least 350,000 immigrants a year to maintain a GDP movement upwards. I've just seen what Serco are doing now with trying to get houses to, you know, put immigrants in. The whole thing is ridiculous. And there's a young man here standing up for what he believes in. There's Marines behind him saying, I agree with you, and they're not being taken seriously. So if you look at 44.2 and 4.5, the main commander units, there's about 2,600 people in there. He's got 1,000 in 24 hours to sign this petition. Madness. And the Corps is not taking this seriously, smoking a crack pipe, mate. Absolutely. You're going to lose Marines because you want a girl in there. That's what it is. This is the problem with the seniors. This is what, and I'm not going to name any names now. We saw it in flying training where they forced women through. We were told to pass these women. The truth though, in flying training, you can fail people. If the girl's good enough, she passes, and the majority are absolutely fine. I want to say something about the Marines though, about they're trying to fail women. It's like, it's not that it's, how do I want to put this so you guys understand it? Women fail Royal Marines training. Men fail Royal Marines training. The majority of people apply for Royal Marines training don't get in, and these are men. Women are no different. But the truth is, a lot of women don't apply for it. A lot of women are not strong enough because a lot of men aren't strong enough. Men aren't good enough. Women aren't. It's nothing to do with sexism. It's just to do with excellence. Women aren't good enough. Men aren't good enough. The truth is, though, there's more men that can do it than women. You probably, out of the population that we've got, let's say that maybe 5% of men can be Royal Marines. They're fit enough to do it. You know what I mean? They've done this. They've been in the football team. They've been in the rugby team. They've gone. You know what I mean? These guys are skilled up. They're well read. They're disciplined individuals. They understand the power of sacrifice. They eat nutritionally well. They apply for the Corps. They know about it. They read about it. They might have some family history in it. And then they get to Lympstone. 5% can get in. Out of that 5%, there's a massive failure rate of men as well. Injuries huge. Have to go to 100 troop, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And get re-rolled. And then a proportion get through the commando test at the end. Women that are able to apply and get through selection to join the Royal Marines must be so much smaller than that 5%. I would have thought like 0.005. Because I'm going to say something now. It's going to shock a lot of people and probably going to get me banned off YouTube forever. This is a shocking thing I'm about to say now. Men and women are different. That's a fact. Men have much more, like 3 times as much upper body strength than women. There are some women that can do pull-ups more than me. Fact. There are fewer women than there will be men. So when you're going for something as elite as the Royal Marines, when you're going for something as elite as anything, guys, that requires that kind of level of strength, and it is physical strength primarily, and you've got to make sure you're not injured. It takes massive amounts of effort to do so. You're going to find men are more designed for this biologically than women. I know this is a shock to a lot of people. What are you saying, Tim? Men and women are different. How dare you, you bigot, you. All right. Now, fair play. If a woman can do it, then you've got to have a look at that. But I don't think women should be. I don't think women should be able to join the Royal Marines because it's too much of a close-knit unit of men. You're never going to get the volume of women to have a Starship Troopers 50-50 kind of thing. And if it was 50-50, you could probably work that, but it's not. It's going to be overwhelmingly 2,540 men and then 20 women probably. You know what I mean? And those women, what are you going to do? You've got to get naked in front of the men. You know what I mean? They'll shower together. Now you've got different accommodation blocks. You've got to accommodate them differently. Women get injured carrying weight more than men. Men still get injured. Oh yeah, but women do. It's an absolute, this whole thing's ludicrous. This young Marine has put his neck out on the line here. Fair play to the boy. All right, fair play to the boy. Personally, I'm not saying it was the best thing to do. Well, you know, suck it up, dude. We all suck it up. I did the same thing in the Air Force. I took a massive hit for it. You know what I mean? Took a massive hit for it. I tended to keep my stuff internal, though. I did start Fast Hit Performance and start writing back in 2011. I took a hit for that the whole time. Whenever I released an essay, I had phone calls, literally. Take that down. I never took a single thing down ever. I even had a senior Air Force guy come down to Bristol when I was working, sit opposite me at the table and tell me to remove my website. And I still said no, all right? At the end of the day, if you want Royal Marines to join, you've got to listen to Royal Marines. It's an unpopular thing to say for a commander. How dare they? What do they know? You're being infiltrated by a very, very liberal, overwhelmingly, it's not liberalism, is it? We know it's Marxism. We know it's like a communism-like thing coming through here to say that everyone can be everything, and it's not true. It's not. I'm not going to swear here, guys. I was about to kick off. We're not doing that. I'm not kicking off on this channel, all right? We're talking about standards and values. And now we're going to finish with that as well because we're over 12 minutes. I want this to end. Look, you know what I'm going to say, but it does start with getting some exercise done every day, just like that young Royal's doing. The reason he's able to go through what's happening to him right now is because he's got the physical and mental fortitude to survive the onslaught from the Ministry of Defence, the British government, and the senior Royal Marines. He's got the Marines have this. The Marines aren't going to back down. You watch what's going to happen with this. These are Marines. All right, you're going to get people not joining the Corps. If you lower the standards, I mean, I was a standards officer. That was my job, was to maintain standards on the largest fast jet squadron in the whole of Europe. It's not easy, but I was lucky because the people flying the jets were supremely professional pilots. That's the truth. So whenever pressure came onto us to like, oh, let that girl through or let that boy, whatever it was, we could turn around and say no. They will die and they will kill us in the process and they will kill you and they will kill, you know, your families on the ground. We're not doing it. And that's what Royal has to say. And that's what that young man's saying is we're not doing it. We're not being part of a Corps where you lower the standards. You cannot hold these young men, like J.D. Vance has said across the whole of the US military, the standards are going to be the same. That's what leadership's about. All right. And unfortunately, we're surrounding ourselves with cowardly leaders, cowardly men. These men are not strong, not the men at the top. The strong men are the young men. This is the future of the country right now, and I'm telling you, because we've proven, guys my age have proven we're not capable of looking after this younger generation that are our future. All right, and that's the truth. It is disgraceful what my generation have done and the generation before me. And I've said it 1,000 times, guys. Fitness, family, finance, fuel. Stick to those things, all right? And just watch this one closely because I think this ends here with the Royal Marines. I appreciate it, guys. Tim Davies, Fast Jet Performance.